Okay, good evening. We'd like to welcome everybody to the regular school board meeting on Thursday, November 7th. Mr. Philo, if you could call roll, please.
Ms. Landon.
Here.
Mrs. Milad.
Here.
Mrs. Webb.
Here.
Mr. Steininger. Here. Mr. Browning.
Here. Next is the Pledge of Allegiance. If we could stand, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if we could get a motion and a second to approve the agenda.
Second.
Mr. Philo.
Ms. Landon.
Yes.
Mrs. Milad.
Yes.
Mrs. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Steininger. Yay. Mr. Browning.
Yes, motion carries. Next is to approve the minutes from the Thursday, October 3rd regular meeting and the Tuesday, October 8th special meeting. If you get a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Philo.
Mrs. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Steininger. Yay. Ms. Landon.
Yes.
Mrs. Milad.
Yes.
Mr. Browning.
Yes, motion carries. Next is good of the order, or board reports and good of the order. So we can start with you, Stephanie.
Sure. Fairborn Intermediate School continues to highlight students' positive behavior in individuals' classes in their team takeover short clips on social media. Thank you to the administrative team and the teachers for all you do. As well, yesterday, I had the honor of being at the middle school for a presentation. Miss Keaton is a science teacher in 6th grade at middle school, and she has a couple classes of 6th graders with logic and problem solving. And it was the coolest thing. Those students designed their own middle school. Several of you were here, Rodney and Amy and Jean. It was the coolest thing. They just did a great job. I thought, I couldn't say for the whole thing, but the outdoor spaces that they did, many, many gaga hits in each one, each presentation, big highlight. But it was so cool to see everybody learning and designing, presenting, and getting that experience. The middle school, Brenda Keaton's doing a great job. So it was a really good morning, and I was glad I was there. So big shout out to the middle school. Sure.
All right. So we'd like to congratulate 12 Fairborn High School seniors for receiving the Governor's Merit Scholarship. Congratulations are offered to Javon DeWitt, Nathan Sherrick, Emma Miller, Mackenzie Albright, Hannah Schrader, Caitlin Welsh, Melissa Martin, Gabriel Bailey, Nicholas Cunningham, Brody Brown, Xander Weed, and Benjamin Haskell for academic achievements which have placed them in the top 5% of the Fairborn High School graduating class. This scholarship has been established to recognize hard work, dedication, and the accomplishments of Ohio's top performing seniors and to encourage them to remain in Ohio for their post-secondary education. The scholarship provides up to $5,000 per year for 4 years at any public or private nonprofit college or university in Ohio. So much congratulations to those kids who have worked very hard. And reading off those names, I know nearly every single one of them is not just a good academic student. They're also wonderful athletes and kids who participate in student government and all sorts of things around our district. So, that's really wonderful for them. So thank you.
Ben?
Yes, talk about the Fairborn Primary School continues to recognize perfect attendance, and it's highlighted in our social media accounts. The importance of this is being on time and ready to learn is critical to our student successes that we all know. So I want to thank them for their staff and students for their commitment to make me happy. Thank you.
Thank you to the Fairborn City School student ambassadors at Fairborn Intermediate, the middle school, and Fairborn High School for hosting our annual trunk or treat at Fairborn Primary. We had over 1,200 children, lots of kids. We didn't think that line was ever going to end around the building. So all the kids had an amazing time, and, it was a great way to serve and support our Fairborn community and the students. So thank you to all our local businesses and all of our staff, local community people, and Jerry,
Okay.
and, for participating, and thanks for supporting us.
Okay, first, our varsity and middle school cheerleaders competed in the MBL championship this past weekend. And the middle school actually won first place in the game day division. And Bria Johnson was the middle school jump-off champion. So I'd like to thank the coaches Sherelle Forrest, Gina Fitch, and Casey Smith. So outstanding job there. Just a couple of things. Went to the first band concert in the new Performing Arts Center the other night. I know Gene was there also. And it was neat having a concert in the Performing Arts Center. The sound was fantastic. I mean, obviously the look is fantastic, so it was pretty exciting. And it was the spooktacular concert where everybody was dressed up. The kids all had costumes on and stuff, and I think they had a lot of fun also. We're wrapping up all of our fall sports seasons, or they have wrapped up now. I thought this season, I know the girls soccer team lost a heartbreaker in their tournament game, and I think a lot of the sports did well. We are hosting a number of tournament games. Been able to attend a number of those, and we've gotten all positive comments for volleyball. The girls' volleyball has been playing in the arena, and the football or soccer games have been going on. And last night we hosted the state semifinals of one of the boys' soccer divisions. And then we do have a tournament football game coming up. I don't think it's this Friday. I think it's a week from Friday. So it's neat seeing that get used by other schools and all the positive comments. So for that. So next is recognition of visitors' public comments.
I have nobody signed up, Mr. President.
Okay. Okay, Gene, school district.
Thank you, Mr. Browning. Well, it's with great excitement that we have some outstanding students here to do some presentations. We are here to talk about the Family Literacy Night that is coming up here shortly. With that, Mrs. McLean, you want to take it away?
Hi, we are students from the Fairborn Primary School. My name is Ted Lennon. Every year we welcome families of Fairborn Primary School to do some fun learning games with teachers. We are so excited to invite families back to this event this year. This year family night will be on Thursday, December 5th. It is from 6 to 8 in the evening. We have a lot of fun activities such as a book walk, a math game, people reading books to us, board bingo, making books that we can keep, and sing Olaf, Elsa, and the Grinch. We also have a really special guest that we get to meet from the North Pole. Santa! At many of the stations, we get an activity to take home. The teachers are there to talk with our parents about how they can help us at home with take-home activities. Students have the opportunity to win a free book at the book walk and word bingo. And to top it off, we get a free cookie from Santa's helpers. We would like to invite you to come join us on December 5th for a great time at our annual family night from 6 to 8. We hope to see you there.
Thank you, Mrs. Queen, and the students. Thank you. Outstanding job.
Good job.
Great
Well said.
Great job.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.
For having us.
Thank you. Thank you again, Mrs. Queen.
Thank you.
Good job.
The next presentation is Aaron Smith Glenn here. Okay, maybe we'll table this till December. She was going to make a presentation, a donation, so we'll show that till next month. Next up is Mr. Philo, or Mr. Treasurer, is going to do a presentation on our state and national financial reporting award presentation, and after that, he will give the 5-year forecast.
And it gives me great pleasure to present to the Board of Education 3 state and national awards we got for financial accounting and auditing. 2 of them, one is from the Association of School Business Officials International. That's a state and national award for financial reporting. This is the 6th year in a row that we've received it. The second one is from the Government Finance Officers Association. That is for also financial reporting. This is the 6th year in a row that we've received that award. And then the last one is from the State Auditor's Office. It's for the clean audit. We received that for several years in a row as well. So it gives us great pleasure to present those to the board.
Congratulations.
Thank you. With that, we will go into a presentation on the 5-year forecast. And this was originally scheduled for October to follow Dr. Brackenhoff's report on the report card, but I was absent that day. So with that, I'd like to emphasize, standing right in front of the speaker. With that, I'd like to emphasize the term value. Value, in my opinion, is something of better than average quality at a lower than average price. And it's one of the things I think that we've achieved here at Fairborn Schools. We're very proud of. We're very proud of the accomplishments. So with that, I'll go into the 5-year forecast. This is mandated by the state of Ohio to do a 5-year forecast. I've been doing them for 34 years. It is our best guess at what the future looks like. And the only thing I can guarantee is every number on here will change. But it is sort of our roadmap that we can look at to see what can we afford, when do we need a levy, etc. The board has in front of them this in form. I'm not going to go through everything in terms of it shows state foundation at about a 3% increase. It's got placeholders in there for future negotiated agreements. It's got a worst case scenario in terms of health insurances. But the bottom line is we're looking at, strong, stable ending cash balances for the future. Those of you that know, every 5-year forecast always looks dire as you look at the end of the 5 years. It's like a worst case scenario. So, but still we're in a pretty stable position. Just an overview in terms of for this year, fiscal year 2025, we'll get about a little less than $62 million in revenue. And the good thing about that is if you look at the chart, the blue and the green are local, the yellows and the reds are state, and so we're about 50-50 split. That's good, that's diversified. We're not all reliant on one thing or another, so that's very positive. Our expenditures, we will spend about the same, a little less than 62 million. We spend roughly 80% of our money on people. We're a government that provides a service. That is not unusual in terms of we spend money on teachers, custodians, etc. So that's a breakdown in terms of salaries and fringe benefits. Our ending cash balances look very, very strong for the future. In terms of our projected ending cash balance for this year is roughly about a little over 34 million, which is in a good place, considering we spend about $62 million a year. Ending cash balances, just some highlights there. We'll flip to the next one. The strong thing about this, though, is projected 5 years of financial stability. And in the state of Ohio, that's very, very rare. Go ahead to the next one. So the board has in front of them, in terms of the graphs that show, what I show every year is our per pupil expenditures to show where we're at in terms of we are still less per pupil spending than the state average. And as Dr. Brackenhoff pointed out last time, our results were above average. B is above average, yet we spend less than the state average. So in terms of that, reinforces my opinion of the value that we bring to our community. You can look at it, got the same thing in terms of the date and where we're at with Beaver Creek, our group averages, et cetera. So not a lot of change in those from year to year, but I think it's a little interesting. If you flip to the next page, shows our average income, and I'll go into a little more detail with this. Our average income is less than the statewide average. Again, another indicator of value. Go ahead. And so every year I show a direct comparison. In the past I've shown Trotwood and Hoover Heights. This year I've added a couple, also the state average. From Fairborn, we spend per child a little over $14,000 per year. That was in 2023. Our average income of our residents is $56,000. And roughly about 20% of our kids are students with disabilities, and 84.3% are economically disadvantaged. And keep those numbers in mind. Trotwood, their expenditures per pupil are 44% higher, and while their average income is lower, they have a little bit less percentage of kids with disability, but pretty similar economics to us. Trotwood as a community does put a lot of money into their schools. So Hoover Heights spends less than us, 4% less, while their average income is higher. Their number of students with disabilities is 3% less, but their economically disadvantaged is at 49%. The state average, as I said, they spend across the state of Ohio, all public schools, about 7% higher. The average income is roughly 39% higher, 38%. The number of students with disabilities hovers around 16%, yet the economically disadvantaged is half of what Fairborn's is. Next slide. On this one, I added in Beaver Creek and Mad River, just to show in terms of, I wanted to pick the four that are the closest compared to us. Beaver Creek, Mad River, they all have different demographics, but in terms of it's most compared. Beaver Creek spends 2.5% lower. Their average income of their residents is 85% higher than Fairborn's. The number of their students with disabilities is 3% less than us, but their economically disadvantaged is 70% less. 84.3 is Fairborn, 14.3% is Beaver Creek. Mad River spends 6% higher. Their average income is a little bit lower. Their number of students with disabilities is pretty low. That was a surprising figure to me, 13.4%, and yet their economically disadvantage is 57.3%. Next slide. In terms of when I came here, started over 6 years ago, we talked about some of the things we wanted to improve with Fairborn schools, what we wanted to improve in terms of the finances. In terms of specifically, we wanted to improve financial communication and education with an emphasis on accountability, transparency, and value. And make this word up just in the last 6 months. One of the things we want to do is have easy to understand financial data for the public and staff. We've done that, we believe. We've shown benchmarks for comparison to prove value, solid short and long range financial projections, precise financial planning to avoid emergencies. We wanted to do an involvement. We started a Citizens Financial Review Committee and also award-winning financial reports. The next slide is in terms of, we talked about inside the walls, etc. Some of the things that we wanted to work on. And we're not done, even though we have check marks. And on the original slide, there are check marks instead of boxes. We talked about a new culture. We talked about more professionalism, improved instruction, improved grade card. Grade card went from a D to a C to a B. Unbelievable. Improved learning, staff and community access to state-of-the-art facilities. I think this is state-of-the-art. We wanted to make Fairborn a destination. We wanted people to invest in Fairborn, and with that, higher property values. The property values in Fairborn were the highest increases of anywhere in Greene County. Yes, they beat Beaver Creek in terms of, so we're proud that some of these things we've accomplished, but yet we know we're not done yet. There's still all these things still we need to work on, and we're going to continue to work on. Any questions that the Board of Education has for me? With that, we'll conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Feiler.
Okay, next on the agenda.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. I think this is here.
Okay,
Sorry.
sorry, I
That's my
apologize.
Associate Professor of Art at Central State University, Erin Smith Glenn, is with us tonight. She is a 12-year faculty member and dedicated instructor in the College of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences. Erin's children attend Fairborn City Schools, and she is here tonight to donate a painting to the district. Erin, thank you for your dedication to the education of our kids. So with that, I'll have you do the presentation. Okay. Just tell us a little bit about it. Yeah, we'll give you a microphone.
Should I just come?
Yeah, you can stand anywhere you'd like. Yeah.
I didn't know if I should show an image of it, if you wanted to pull it up on the.
That'd be up to you. Can she pull this up on the internet from here?
Can you email it to me? Can you email it to me?
I don't know what email.
Give us a second.
Also, if you'll talk in the microphone so we can get that recording.
Oh,
We can hear you, but we record everything.
yeah.
Always let the younger ones
Yes.
take care of themselves.
So we brought her along.
Yeah.
Go back up there. And go to Clifton. You want to go up at the top? Yeah, right there. Yep. And Clifton. Portrait. O-N. Nope. T-O-N. Thank you. Cultural. C-U-L-T-U-R. Arts Center. Go to all. Go to all. Why'd you type in my homework? There you go. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. So this is Zion. So when I was, let's see, I'm 39 now. When I was 26 years old, I moved here because we were in Oxford, and her father was just finishing his master's in music performance. And I was like, man, I'm tired of driving an hour and a half one way. You have a seat before.
You want to stay with me?
Okay, never mind. No, you're right. Thank you. So in what year was that? 2011? Yeah. So in 2012, at the end of my teaching year, that was like my second or third teaching year, I decided that I wanted to work on a really large painting because I was really inspired by some other artists around me in the community, in the Dayton community in particular. Willis Bing Davis and Dwayne Daniel and James Pate. They have been some longtime mentors of mine. The African American Visual Artists Guild in Dayton has always been a longtime friend and supporter of mine. So, you know, as mothers, we are very annoying in that we take lots of pictures of our children doing everyday things. I always loved nature. I always loved going to the park. And, you know, I remember this like it was yesterday. I remember doing Zion's hair like that, and I remember getting those shoes and those sunglasses. I remember getting the whole outfit secondhand, like I did many things and still do a lot of things. And I took just a series of photos because, again, that's what moms do. We're annoying like that. And then I did a sketch. And then from that sketch, I scaled it. And it took me the whole summer because I had to build the canvas. And it took the whole living room floor. We were living in the townhomes on Thunderbird at that time. And it took a week to build and prepare the canvas. That week, her father had taken her to Chicago to visit family in Chicago. I'm from Columbus, but his family is in Chicago. And so the painting ended up being 4 by 8 feet. And it was something I started at the end of May once I finished summer teaching. And I would put her on the back of my bike with a seat, and I would drive her down to the Fairborn YMCA for childcare. And then I would come back and I would take the dog for a walk or a run, and then I would get started painting. And I did that every single day from May all the way until it was time for school to start again in August. And, you know, and that was 2012. So a whole lot's happened since then in my life. I am working probably on a book very soon. It's very deep. I don't want to go into many details. I'll just say that later that year I got pregnant with my oldest son, and then 2 years later with my youngest son. So I have 3 kids now. But I do want to do a painting like this of the boys at some point. I've done paintings of the kids since then, but this one is considered like the painting of my life's work. It is. A lot of people would say that, yeah. Anyway, I've done a lot of paintings. So anyway, I painted this one and I named it initially Up and Away, but then I added an additional title because artists were weird like that, we do that. After the Anticipation is the additional title, and that title kind of coincides with, you know, in the first image of her, because she's on all 4 swings, and kids usually figure it out right away. It usually takes adults. Adults usually be like, oh, who are all those kids? And I'm like, it's all the same kids on the swing. But in the first one, she's not really going anywhere because she's looking, and as she decides to stop looking, you know, once she's stopped paying attention to whatever else is going around her, and she just kind of focuses on herself, then up away she goes. So it's the whole idea of when we stop worrying about what other people are doing, what other people are saying, then we take off, you know. And so this is an oil painting that I did. I was 27 with a 3-year-old, and now I'm 39 with a 15, 11, and 9-year-old, and I've done lots of paintings since then, especially since 2022, when I started down my mental health journey, because like I said, I've gone through a lot living in this place. If you guys are wondering why you've never heard of me until now, it's because I have gone through a lot. In 2021, I had lost my house. We moved to Dayton because I thought it would be cool to have a fresh start in a different place. The kids were very unhappy. They missed their friends, their teachers, everything. And so I decided to do what most parents wouldn't do, and I listened to my children and moved back. You know, most parents will be like, well, you know, we're here, you're gonna make it work, you just gotta stay, because I said so. And a lot of my, you know, people I knew, they were surprised because they're like, you moved back because your kids wanted to, like, y'all could have just stayed and worked it out. And I'm like, but their sadness was deepening my depression that was already building pretty high. And so the next year, I was diagnosed with, you know, some things, and have been since working on those things, have since pushed out a few dozen paintings over the past couple of years, just trying to make up for all the time that I missed when I was under that cloud. And so I'm really grateful to be from up under that cloud. You know, it's a daily walk. I've since created and established a whole series based on mental health called From the Inside Out. And I'd love to, I guess, share that with you guys at any time. But so initially, I want to just kind of conclude what I was saying. This piece won me a Best in Show award 2 years ago, 10 years after I created it in Cincinnati. And as a result, I was the first artist to exhibit in the Clifton Cultural Arts Center building that just went up back in March. And the reason why that building is significant is because it's the first building in the history of Cincinnati that was purposefully built for the arts. And so I guess I'm really grateful to be the artist that was responsible for that, but it's all because I took some pictures of my kid one day at the park and decided to make a whole painting out of it. And so now I'm going to conclude with this. Zion reminded me, and so did my mother, hey, that painting technically, you painted it, but it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to Zion, and they're right. And so I decided that what I want to do instead is loan it out for the duration that my children are in school, which technically is until 2033, because I have a 9-year-old. And I thought that it would be a great idea to maybe allow the painting to travel between the schools every year or so, or however you guys see fit, so that the kids can all be exposed to it over time, so that they can know that it was created by a woman that maybe they didn't expect to be painted by. You know, back then I think I was married, something like that. Was I? I got married. I wasn't getting ready to get married, something like that. Yeah, and then had 2. You were 3. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. I was okay because it was 2012. Yeah. And but I'm since now raising my children on my own, and so that's been quite a journey. But you know, I was just telling Zion on the way here. I said, you know, I've gone through a lot. I've missed opportunities. I've suffered a lot, lost a lot, but I've also had a lot of good measures and good gains considering I'm a Black woman master painter, which is unusual in the state of Ohio. And I'm just really grateful for that. I told my kids at the end of the day that I would do a lot of things over, but I would never change. For children. Thank you, sorry. So, in conclusion, she wants this painting to circulate around the schools that we end up going to. So, starting at the primary and ending up at the high school by the time Xavier, my youngest brother, who's 9, enters the high school. Also, I told her, I said, well, you know, Zion, since you're in a new high school, why don't we start there? And she didn't really want that. Plus, since it's still a new building, from what I understand, it's not allowed to go up here first anyway. But I would personally like for it to be in the school before Zion graduates, but I guess that's kind of up to her since it technically belongs to her. So, yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day, guys. Can you use the microphone?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, sorry, we have to go soon because Zion's looking to be recruited by some school in Chicago. No, it's a bunch of recruiters are gonna be making a difference.
Oh, awesome.
Oh,
Good luck to you, Zion.
thank you,
Good luck.
thank you all. I wish I could stay the whole day.
No,
Sorry I ended up crying.
You're good, thank
You
you.
know, us artists, we're real sensitive, so.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The topics are perfect.
With that, Mr. Brennan, I'll turn it back over to
Okay.
you.
So next is budget and finance. If we could get a motion in a second, and if there's any questions, and we thought monthly financial report. So we get a motion. in a
So
second.
moved.
I'll second, okay. You got it, Kim. Any questions or comments?
No.
Okay. Mr. Fidel?
Mrs. Webb,
Yes.
Mr. Steininger,
Yay.
Ms. Landon,
Yes.
Mrs. Malat,
Yes.
Mr. Browning.
Yes, motion carries. So next is administrative reports and superintendent recommendations. This goes to the middle of page 7. Yeah. And then wanted to note that there's actually 2 tributes on here. If you look on page 6, Sandra Hicks is a bus paraprofessional, retiring at the end of October. And want to get a tribute of resolution for 35 years of service with Fairborn School, which is amazing. And then Dave Warden, the head custodian at the primary, retired. This is, it says effective December 31st of 24. And same thing, a resolution of tribute for 29 years of service with Fairborn City Schools. So want to thank both of them for their service to the school district. So if we could get a motion and a second, and if there's any questions or comments.
So moved.
Second.
So are there any questions or comments on any of the items in this part?
No.
Okay, if not, Mr. File?
Mrs. Malat,
Yes.
Ms. Landon,
Yes.
Mrs. Webb,
Yes.
Mr. Steininger,
Yay.
Mr. Browning.
Yes, motion carries. Next is gifts and donations.
Of course. I had to giggle when I read through this one, though. So,
You don't even know yet.
I do, because I read it earlier. The Fairborn City Schools Board of Education would like to gratefully acknowledge the following gifts and donations. From 7 Brew Drive-Thru Coffee, 125 drinks for the FIS staff and 200 drinks for FPS staff. Matt Klein with just a pair of shoes, 51 pairs of shoes for FIS, and that has to be out of thousands he's already donated to us, to our children. Fair Creek Church, $1,235 for the homeless liaison. Chris and Pam Gayhart, $1,000 for the turf fund. Tammy Gendro, 5 softball helmets for the softball team. And I will say this with a straight face. The Happy Hookers with Fairborn Senior Center, 4 boxes of homemade hats for students. Northgate Estates Homeowner Association, $50 for the Jennifer Whited Literacy Project, and Stephanie Peterangelo, $500 for the Turf Fund. As always, we're very grateful for everything that our community gives back to our children and our staff and students here, so thank you very much.
Good.
Mr. President, at this time, if we can entertain a motion to go
Now,
into
Mr.
executive.
Fowler, can I say one thing?
Yep.
Is that okay? I'm a proud member of the retired Happy Hookers. Happy Senior Center. I'm proud. But I have to say, Kristen was really thrilled when I dropped them off to get all the hats, crocheted, knitted, whatever we did.
Yes, crocheted and knitted is
Correct.
key, yes,
Yes.
yes.
So I just wanted to own up to it. In Kettering, they're called the Crooked Hookers, just FYI. Okay, Mr.
Okay,
Fowler.
okay, Mr. Fowler, go ahead.
Moving on.
Mr. President, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session for the specified purpose of the appointment or employment of public employee.
Okay, if we could get a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Fowler?
Ms. Landon,
Yes.
Mr. Steininger,
Yay.
Mrs. Milan,
Yes.
Mrs. Webb,
Yes.
Mr. Browning.
Yes.
We expect this to be a somewhat short executive session with one anticipated action item on the agenda that we'll vote on afterwards. And then after that, we'll go into a work session and an executive